everyone. Tina Spalding Trance Channel here today. Today I'm sharing with you an excerpt from one of our live streams that we do regularly on our community on Mighty Networks. The link is in the description box below. If you enjoy these snippets, you will enjoy joining our community and having two 90-minute sessions a month where we get to ask Jesus and sometimes Ananda our questions. And I'd also like to invite you to our public live stream tomorrow. It is on at 1 p.m. Pacific, and the cost is $22 US for non-members. Our membership also get a discount on that. So if you were a member, you'd get a 50% discount. So you can have a little taste of our live streams, our live stream Q&As. Jesus will answer 8 questions tomorrow. 1 p.m. Pacific time. So you've got a few hours yet. You can join. The link is on our homepage at channelingjesus.com. So head to channelingjesus.com and you will see our live stream advertisement there, and you can join us. Don't miss it. It's always an exciting hour. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that notification bell so that you know when I put up a new video. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
She's wondering how her son manifested bone cancer and what she can do to help.
Okay. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. What has happened with your son is it's a karmic thing. That means that he came in with a lesson to be learned here. Now, what we would like you to do is to evaluate the situation from a much higher perspective. So what the first thing that a mother will feel when a child is sick, regardless of the age of that child, is that this should not have happened. This will be a thought that you will have in your mind. This shouldn't have happened. This is wrong. This is the first place where your frequency goes down, because when you argue with what is happening, you will feel fear. So this is a natural reaction of the mind to your arguing with reality, as we refer to it in your world. Not true reality, which is not this place at all, but the reality that you call my son has bone cancer. So the first thing we want you to do is to say to yourself, I must allow this thing to happen. This experience that he's having, this disease that has not manifested out of nothing. We want you to, as the mother, we want you to address what's coming up in you. So this is the first place that you help your son, is by addressing the fears that come up in you. Because if you're terrified of his future, if you feel guilty, maybe it's something you've done. There's a lot of motherhood guilt going around on your planet. If you are walking on eggshells all the time because you don't want to upset him because of this thing, whatever it is, we want you to get to a place of radical acceptance, because it is in your frequency that the best potential influence lies. It's not dissimilar from the previous question we had about the vaccine. What you want to do is you want to address what's coming up in you. His experience is different than your experience. He's going to have things come up in him that are different than you. And what we want you to understand is that this has not happened by accident, and the things that come up in him are things that he needs to see. So often when people get a cancer diagnosis, they begin to look at their state of mind. They begin to look at their negativities. They begin to look at things that they felt for a long, long time, because the diagnosis is that brick up the side of the head that gets everybody's attention. Getting really sick gets everybody's attention. So the first thing that we want you to do is to stop saying this shouldn't have happened, this is a bad thing, in your own heart and mind. We want you to come to a place of radical acceptance, because in that radical acceptance, you are saying this is happening, and therefore there is a purpose behind it. Now, what that purpose is, we cannot tell you, because you and your son have to figure out how to manage this particular circumstance. Because once again, your son has brought into being an experience that is a frequency match for an aspect of his consciousness. So as a mother, you will probably look upon your son, if you can let go of the resistance to what's happening and ask yourself, can I see in my son anything that would be in the frequency of fear? Because that's generally what causes cancer, is fear. Can you see in your son, from the time he was born, through childhood, through teenage life to now, can you see where he has anger or fear? Anger is fear. So that is going to help you. If you can resist resisting, if you can allow this experience to happen so that you can investigate it openly and without trepidation, what you will get from that is the guidance. Oh, this is exactly what I see here. I see that he's had a tendency to be this way, or he's had a tendency to be that way. And that really is a fearful kind of manifestation. It could be that he was always anxious. It could be that he was always highly judgmental of other people. It could be that he was reckless in his actions and was sort of an adrenaline junkie. It could be any number of things in that way. And the reason we give these other options is for other people who listen to this, so they are not caught up in one option. They may think, oh, yes, my brother's got lung cancer and he was always reckless. He was always living on the edge. He was always tempting death in that sense. So we want you to come to a place of radical acceptance. Everything that is happening works together for good in the end. That is a big one for you right now. Everything that happens works together for good in the end. And we want to remind you what we said in the other answer, that your son's experience is something that he needs to have to learn something that he needs to learn. Now, what do you do about it? You are as positive as you can be, not in a fake Pollyanna-ish way, but you are saying to yourself internally, because your feelings are going to be determined by the thoughts that you believe. If you have a thought, this shouldn't be happening, and you believe that thought, you will feel terrible. Why will you feel terrible? Because you're arguing with reality. Arguing with reality is pointless. It's just a waste of energy, and it's guidance. When you believe that thought and feel terrible, then you are being given what? You are being given guidance that you are off track. So what you want to start to say to yourself is, this has happened for a reason. We just don't know what the reason is yet. If you have that thought and you believe that thought, then you will feel relief. You will feel a sense of upliftment, not in the sense of joy, but you will feel less down. Okay, this has happened for a reason. There is something to learn from this. Then ask yourself, what am I learning from this situation? Oh, well, I'm learning that I really need to monitor my thoughts because I'm emotional. I'm all over the place. I'm desperate. I'm sad. That tells you that your thoughts about the situation are off track, that there needs to be a reworking of the thoughts that you are having. Now, it's natural to have negative thoughts in a circumstance like this, because you're all conditioned to believe that this is a bad thing and it shouldn't happen. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a thought, you don't have to believe it. If believing a thought makes you feel horrible, then you know that that thought was not true. You know that that thought is going to take you off track. So for you as the mother, you want to be monitoring your interior world and making sure that you feel the best you can at any given moment, and that this is going to require mental and emotional discipline on your part. This is going to require you to use the Course in Miracles teachings, and maybe even to resort to reading the book when your mind runs away with you. That's okay. If your mind runs away with you and you get into deep fear about the future, you get into worry, you get into concern, you get into anger perhaps at God for inflicting this upon your son. God did not inflict this upon your son. Your son is a creator, a co-creator, and has manifested something that is for his long-term benefit in some way, shape, or form. So what you want to do, if the momentum gets too much and your thoughts have run away with you and taken you down a rabbit hole, You want to grab the course, go sit in the sun somewhere, go find a comfy chair and read something sane so that your insanity subsides, so that your fear subsides, so that your anger at God subsides. And understand that that frequency, when you've been reading the course for half an hour, that is the frequency that you want to bring to this situation. That is the frequency where you are going to get guidance that is clearly meant for you. Now, your part in this co-creation is that he is your son, and you are going to have an experience of your son going through this experience. But what we want you to understand is that being in deep suffering and pain is not required for you to prove that you love your son. So being at peace, being calm, being, we'll say, philosophical about this is not going, it does not mean that you don't love him. It does not mean that you don't have a wish for things to work out well. But what we want you to understand is that the only way that you are going to be able to be helpful energetically is to come to terms with the reality of what's happening and start from there. It is happening. All things work together for good. We just don't know what this thing is for. So we would counsel you to, first of all, read and watch Anita Moorjani's story, Dying to Be Me. This is the story of a woman who literally had a near-death experience and was shown that her cancer that was riddling her body was caused by her fear of cancer and her people-pleasing attitude. And when she came out of the near-death experience, her mind was so deeply transformed by that experience that within a few weeks, there was no cancer in her body. Not only that, but after that experience, she has taught millions and millions and millions of people that fear creates sickness. And your mind is the creator. The body is not the creator. So what this teaching will give your son, given you can buy him the audiobook or buy him the regular book. Audiobooks are good because a lot of people like to lay around and listen to things or go listen to things on a drive. It's a bit more of a passive experience, but it does give that person an easy way of accessing that information. What that story will give your son is an opportunity to see a different outcome and to understand exactly what's going on inside of him in a way that is very, very palatable. You would be well served to read that book too. We want you to understand that this place is a challenging place, this place of separation, this place of fear, this place of guilt, this place of seeming isolation. It is not reality. You call it reality, but really it is a nightmare at times. You are in a bad part of the dream right now, but understand you and your son are the dreamers, and you can have a different dream. You can leave the nightmare and come into a happier dream where things are going better. And if that is, this experience of bone cancer is what is required for you both to wake up, for you both to come to understand the power of your mind and the power of your ability to heal, then that is worth it, because that is really what all this is about. This is about all of you understanding how powerful you are, how wonderful you are at creating what you want to experience, and how confused you are at times by what you want to experience. Poverty, sickness, death, these are your choices. They represent your belief in separation. And it is in undoing your belief in separation that you will have a happy dream.